you brought up Caglione. He's one of the guys that's like, is he trending towards becoming an everyday player, or do you think you're still going to kind of shelter him against some of those lefties?
Not against all lefties. I mean, the biggest hit of the season for Kansas City to that point was the game tying home run with 2 outs against the Angels last Sunday, and that was left on left when he came in to pinch hit for Starling Marte earlier in the game to face a righty. He struck out, but he's still in the game. They bring in Pomeranz. There's no one to go to get Cags out, so it was an opportunity for him, and he showed it. But then he's gotten some other plate appearances against left-handed pitching that were really ugly. Like it's the thing that he really has to work through. And I think there's a way to kind of soft launch it and give him opportunities without putting everything on his plate and like putting him out there against like he didn't start opening day against Chris Sale. Yeah, no kidding. Chris Sale was awesome. And like he's not gonna be in there. They when they face like guys like Garrett Crochet or a Tarek Skubal or any of the guys that are like the top lefties in the league, I'm okay with having him on the bench for late game pinch hit against a right-handed reliever than throwing him to the wolves right now, as he's really had to build his confidence back up from what he did last year. Like it was about as worst case scenario of a debut as you could have, hitting $1.57 and really not displaying the power. But he's had to rip his approach down to the studs, rework basically the way he's operated, and has given him a lot of success for his entire career. And as he's working through that, you see the flashes. And now it looks like over the last week, he's starting to put it all together. He's slugged 550 over the last week. So it's starting to, the power outcomes are starting to go for him. And I do think he's a star ceiling, perennial all-star type guy that's going to be one of the best power hitters in the league for the better part of a decade, probably. But it's just a matter of him putting it all together. And it seems like he's doing that now.
Glad you brought up Cags' last season because like I felt so bad for the guy. He got put in such a tough position coming up like middle way through the year last year. He was like depended upon to be like the guy to come up and smack home runs and be like the offensive
Yep.
firepower. It's like, okay, good. We got the, top prospects coming up and playing right field every day. Yeah, I mean, like a buck 57 is probably like you said, like the worst case scenario. But yeah, I feel like every fan's like dream is to have just like an everyday 150 plus games, like, Cags pencil in there just because the
Yeah,
tools are so enticing, man. Like I watch him like
they
throw a
are.
ball from right and he's fast as hell, but yeah, I'm hoping he's trending towards, like you said, soft launch becomes a hard launch. Put this thing on Instagram, make it official.
Exactly. But the thing for him was it wasn't necessarily the chase and the strikeouts that concerned people. It was just the amount of swinging because he has, and I think they are very different players, but similar to what we saw with Bobby Witt Jr. at the beginning of his career. Like their feel to hit and their feel for the barrel is so elite that they think that ball that's 4 or 5 inches off the plate, they can still get their barrel to and shoot it down the right field line. But that gets exposed at the major league level. It doesn't get exposed in high school, college, or the minor leagues. So it was one of those where Caglione basically became a victim of his own success by having this approach that is free swinging all over the place, kind of like what Salvador Perez has made a career doing. But that's more exception, not the rule of the way it goes. And I don't think Jack was going to learn anything with 100 more games in AAA. Like he would have probably hit 330, 35 homers, 110 RBIs, and been unbelievable. And then he comes in at the beginning of this year as the opening day starter in right field, and it would have been a disaster because he wouldn't have learned what he had to do to become a successful big leaguer. So, as crazy as it sounds, it might have been the best thing for his future to see firsthand, oh, this ain't going to work. I got to figure this out. And to his credit, he's a smart, self aware player. And he did. He came in and made legitimate changes to his approach that he's still working through, but you see more good than bad for him right now. And now the results are starting to reflect it.
I am curious to get your perspective on just like I was looking at some of the numbers and Hags his like launch angle is like one of the worst in baseball. He's kind of got that like old Eric Hosmer mentality, just smacking everything directly to the ground.
But at least
Um,
he tries to turn and burn and pull the ball. Like Haas was gonna, if he was gonna hit a line drive anywhere, it was gonna be to left center. Like he's not gonna dead pull anything. So yeah, the ground ball rate was crazy high last year, and it's still higher than it should be, but it's down 7% or so from last year, and the line drive rate's up 20% from last year. So you're starting to see that kind of even out, and now the pull side fly balls are coming for him. He's got 4 home runs in the last week and a half. So that's what, including one tonight that he hit 420 feet on his bobblehead night. So pretty sweet little deal there. But it's starting to come together for him more, and he's cutting out the poor contact. He's cutting out the pop ups. Like he's working more walks against right-handed pitching. Now it's a matter of putting it on the left side too. But the guy can slug against lefties. That's not in question. It's just a matter of staying in and not striking out 40% of the time against lefties, to where I really think he could be an everyday player regardless.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because just like, yeah, I saw like the launch angle and like all the the hard hit into the ground stuff. And it's like, this is a guy who's like, he needs to be like a, Deadpool, 30 plus homer guy. Not just like slapping the ball around. I think I saw a quote. It was like Michael Garcia was like, Cags has looked really good against the fastball, like a lot better. Have you noticed that too, where
Yes.
like he's not getting beat
Oh
by
yeah.
hitters?
Oh yeah. No, he hit, I think it was like a buck 60 against fastballs last year. And now this year he's hitting over 330 against them. I mean, now he's still having a little bit of trouble with spin, but you can see that starting to get to where he's not swinging and missing. He's like poking it foul or spoiling it. So that's it's a good sign that he's becoming a very well-rounded hitter. And what's actually helped him, I think, this year is not selling out for just the power outcomes. He had a good start, and then he really struggled for a week, and then he came back and he just started hitting line drives left center, just using the big part of the field and seeing the ball in the air that way, and not having to worry about pulling off of it and trying to really worry about it. And then it opened up the pull side for him, and now it's all starting to come together for him.
So what I'm hearing is the future is bright, you think, for Jack?
100%. I didn't give up on him last year. I knew if he struggles, it's probably going to be good for him because it's going to help him get better. And it seems like that is the case right now. And I do think he and Carter Jensen as well are a huge part of the future for this team.